Matthew McConaughey kept it brutally honest.
It's the first time it's happened. Bipartisan, it's come together, it's there. And it's already working in some ways. But there's billions of dollars that are still left to be spent.
During an interview on ABC, the legendary actor broke down how his nonprofit was helping schools become safer through helping them apply for government grants. And he had an interesting message for the left.
And when you're coming in hot, which sometimes the left does, on this issue and many others.
Sometimes, well, yeah.
And is immediately saying, you idiot, you dumbass, what? How foolish. You've lost them.
That's why today we're covering this eye-opening interview. So buckle up because you're in for a treat.
I remember watching you at the White House. I've seen a lot of celebrities come to the White House on various causes, but I have never seen somebody do quite what you did when you stood at that podium just after the massacre at Robb Elementary and spoke from the heart. I mean, this was something that obviously hit you really hard, hit all of us hard, but really hit you.
Yeah, it did. It happened in my hometown. My wife was out of the country. She hears about the news, immediately writes me and says, we got to go down there. She cut her trip short, flew in, we packed up and headed out. And we had chaperoned around to the right places. Congressman Tony Gonzalez was already on the ground there and helped us go to the right places. We met many of the families. The families started to invite us into places and hardships that they were going through. They were inviting us in. We had families invite us in to come for the first viewing of their child.
Oh my God. And
that, to us, felt like we were trespassing, but the mother and father going, no, please come in.
This interview took place 2 years ago, just 1 year after that terrible shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. It's also the hometown of McConaughey, and I think that's why he became so active in supporting the community, making sure the voices of the victims' families weren't just heard, but amplified. And he took action. He wrote a lengthy essay on Esquire, calling on both sides of the political aisle to put their egos aside and meet in the middle, pushing for common sense reforms that support what he calls responsible gun ownership. Eventually, some of those reforms were passed, and Matthew continued explaining where things stood a year later.
So that led to us ending up in D.C., and then the president asked me if I would speak at a press conference there, and I sure as hell I'm going to say no to that.
that was over a year ago.
Yes.
I remember what you said. You said that there's a window to get something done.
Right.
And something was done, a bipartisan bill.
32 days later.
Yep. But now we're over a year past
Yep.
that, and you're trying to make sure that that's actually working.
Right. What I'm trying to do, my wife and I have started this Green Lights Grant initiative it's a follow through. All right. The first bill was passed to Safe in Schools in 30 years.
Yeah.
That's the Bipartisan Safe Communities Act.
Yeah.
It's got all these grants that can help secure schools physically. It's also for mental health counseling for the kids in these schools. It's the first time it's happened. Yeah. Bipartisan. It's come together. It's there. And it's already working in some ways. But there's billions of dollars that are still left to be spent.
What they're talking about is the Safer Communities Act, which authorized a total of $1.4 billion in funding for new and existing violence prevention and intervention programs, of which $300 million was funding for the Stop School Violence Act to institute safety measures in and around schools, support school violence prevention efforts, and provide training to school personnel and students. Now, all of that sounds great in theory, like real action was finally being taken. But when it came to actually accessing those funds, that's where things got messy. I'll let Matthew do the explaining.
So this passed over a year ago.
Yes.
And billions of dollars for school safety. Great. That's awesome. And then you find out, you come along now, a year later, and the money hasn't gone out yet.
Well,
most of it hasn't.
Look, let me give you some numbers here. Congressman Gonzalez comes to me about 3 months after Uvalde. And it says, Matthew, Camilla, 119 schools, 112 applications, 0 awards. What are we doing? That math does not add. That's a 0 success rate. One, way too few applications. Number two, the 12 applications, we went 0 for 12.
Yeah.
In the districts right there where Uvalde just happened. So that's when Camilla and I started researching the country and going, I doubt this is just a problem down in South Texas. We know it's just a problem all over America. You got 14,000 something schools.
It suggests there's something wrong with the system if you pass
and they
this,
admit
it's
it,
not-
though. The
yeah.
government admits
Yeah.
that it shouldn't be this complicated.
That was the name of the game during the Biden administration, and this program was one of many where grand things were promised, but due to the endless red tape, nothing got accomplished. Even a liberal like Jon Stewart was left speechless as Ezra Klein explained the situation around the Build Back Better Act. Another example was the pledge to build 500,000 public EV charging stations across the country. $7.5 billion were allocated for the project, and what did we get? A total of 400 charging ports. I could go on for hours, but you get the point. Going back to the interview, the reporter asked Matthew how he managed to bridge such a massive divide between the right and the left on the Second Amendment. And his answer really kind of makes you think.
At the White House, you said that the middle ground is where most Americans are on this issue, the guns issue.
Yes, just one word.
Yeah.
I went in there and flipped, seemed to get those hard Second Amendment defenders' ears to at least listen. Yeah. And that was I changed the word from control to responsibility.
Right, they hate gun control.
Well, control sounds like a mandate. And nobody wants to mandate. No one wants to be controlled. But responsibility is still something that we can all go, yeah, I'll take responsibility. And a lot of the far right or the Republicans, they almost feel like responsibility is a value that they have ownership of. And it's a sense of almost pride and honor to be responsible. So when the narrative got changed and the questions and started calling it gun responsibility, a lot more conversations I even noticed in the few days that we were there were able to be had from both sides. Because the Second Amendment defenders could talk responsibility. They could look you in the eye and talk responsibility with someone from the other side of the aisle.
To be fair, the way he's generalizing and alluding that people on the right are not interested in debate is a bit of a stretch. There are plenty of voices across the conservative spectrum who are more than willing to engage in serious discussions. One of them tragically lost his life because of it. That said, he did hit on something important when he brought up the power of the narrative. In today's political climate, everything runs on storytelling. If there's no compelling narrative behind an issue, it gets ignored. We've built a system that doesn't prioritize prevention. It only responds once things fall apart. From there, Matthew pivoted and took aim at the left, calling them out for how extreme and over the top their communication can get.
Do you have advice to particularly Democrats on this issue who, the minute they speak about gun control,
Yes.
I mean, you mentioned one thing, get rid of the word gun control.
Right.
But even without that, do you have any advice on how they can speak?
Quit patronizing. There's a whole lot of Americans that need you to at least meet them where they are and what they're understanding and how they've grown up on this issue with guns in their lives and how most of them do handle them responsibly. Mm-hmm. So don't cast them down as being archaic or cavemen and women and how could you? No.
Yeah.
Listen to them for a minute. And when you're coming in hot, which sometimes the left does, on this issue and many others.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And is immediately saying, you idiot, you dumbass, what? How foolish. You've lost them. You've lost them. They get more defensive.
Again, broad generalizations like that, they don't really sit well with me, but Matthew does have a fair point. It's fair to say that both parties have shaped a system where there's almost no room for a true centrist voice. Millions of Americans fall somewhere in the middle, yet they're left without any real representation. Instead, we're stuck watching the two sides go at it while practical, balanced solutions get lost in the noise. Well, let me know in the comments your thoughts on the story, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.